Welcome to the Light Stand, everybody. Art and Nat are your hosts, and we have some awesome friends with us tonight. You're absolutely in for a treat. Without further ado, introducing to some and introducing to others. I don't know how you say that, but Hector and Raquel Garcia officially.
Yay.
Let's go,
Luna
guys!
Garcia.
Welcome to the Light Stand, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yay.
Welcome to Light Stand.
You guys are hilarious.
How are you guys feeling?
We're feeling good.
Good. Yeah.
Yay.
You ready to
How
go?
excited.
Excited to be
roll.
with you guys.
Nice.
Yes. Thank you guys for inviting us.
Of course, man. So as I was telling our listeners here, I got this confirmation to invite you guys, man. When we were having an awesome conversation that night, dude, you were spitting fire, bro. You were talking about how you used to be a worship leader and just your journey through the church and like how like where your heart is for God. You know, just the little things that you were sharing. I was just like, wow. And then with Raquel, we served together on the worship team.
Yes.
Awesome.
And the times that you come to our campus, you know, and we get to sing together, dude, like you could tell you worship, like you just have this heart for worship. And then your little man, dude, I love your little man.
sweet.
What's his name?
Sebastian.
Your oldest, no?
Yes.
Your oldest one.
Shout out to Sebastian, man. That's my dude. Every time I see him,
Mhm.
he says hi to me with so much joy and so
Mhm.
much like, what's up, man?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then when we get to worshiping, dude, he is just pouring it out for the Lord, bro. I'm like, man,
Yeah.
that's amazing, dude. Like that speaks a lot about you guys as parents, of course.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
But you guys just have a beautiful family. You have 3 boys.
Thank you. Three
Right.
boys.
Wow.
Sebastian, Jetro, and
Jetro.
Nicolas.
Okay.
How old are they?
Sebastian is 10, Jethro is 6, and Nicolas is 4, going on 5.
Next
So
one.
Jethro and Nico were back to back.
Okay.
COVID babies.
COVID
No-
babies.
Oh,
Todavía nada más que hacer.
Yeah, yeah,
Let's make
so-
some babies.
Hey, let's go.
What's the difference between the youngest ones?
Exactly a year.
There, yeah, I
He
was
was
like 4
5
months,
months.
4
Four-
months
4
postpartum or 5. I don't remember.
Wow.
And then that's when I ended up pregnant. Nah, 4 months, I think. Yeah,
Mhm.
they're back to back. They were like. Now I look at the pictures and I'm like, it was 2 babies, and I
Mhm.
didn't realize
2
it.
babies.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's awesome, man. And then boys.
Mm,
How does
3
it feel,
boys.
Raquel, with 4 men in the house?
Amazing. They treat me like a princess.
Let's
They're always
go.
like,
Aw.
mom's a princess. But then I think of later on in life, I'm like, I hope they always think that way, you know?
Mhm.
I'm like, oh, everybody's like, you don't have the girl. And I'm like, I know, but it's awesome.
It's okay.
No, but we're training. I'm training them to take care of mom.
Aw.
There you go.
Because we're not having a 4th one. We're skipping to 3.
I got you.
Watch, keep this recording, guys.
Ándale.
A year from now.
You
Y'all
bet.
heard it here
Bring
first.
me
We're gonna
back.
hear. We're gonna be the first ones to hear the news.
I know. All right, guys.
Yeah.
So, help us for those of us that don't know you. What's your story? Like, where? Let's start with this. How did you guys meet?
Mm.
Who starts? I start.
You can start.
We met here in El Paso. We're both originally from here, grew up and went to school here in El Paso.
Mhm.
And I met her through a friend of mine. It was this girl,
Mhm.
a co-worker of mine. And she thought we were dating, but we were not. We were pretty good friends.
Mhm.
But this girl was kind of crazy. I was crazy myself. I was
Okay.
not serving the Lord yet. I was already a believer and a sympathizer of the Christian church because my dad was already a Christian.
Mhm.
But this girl kept telling me about her friend.
Mhm.
This girl had gotten kicked out of her house that day for being pretty crazy. They took her car away, so she had no car. So she asked me for a ride.
Okay.
And I told her, where are you spending the night? And she's like, I'm spending it at my best friend's house, but he's not there. But his little sister's there.
Mhm.
She's amazing. She's so sweet. She's a little Christian girl. And she kind of described me, Raquel, a little bit. So
Mhm.
so we met that day, that night. We met and talked for like 2 hours.
I know.
But there was this friend chemistry,
Mhm.
really cool chemistry. We laughed. And so she kind of tried ministering me and talking. She was on fire for Jesus. She was ready. She was telling me that she was going to be a missionary and
Nice.
probably go to China. And And I was like,
That's
"Ay,
true.
Nah.
bless your heart." Because I was partying.
Chinatown, no.
was,
Just kidding.
And what did you think when she was telling you all this?
I just thought it was sweet
Okay.
because when we talked, she was at like outside her garage,
Mm.
and I'm in my car because I just dropped off this girl. This girl went inside, and we just stayed talking, and there was this really cool chemistry. This girl, she reached back out to me. I was in college, and she said, "Hey, this girl that I'm staying with at her house, this girl that's hosting me, she's about to graduate high school, and she's stuck doing some final project work. Can you help us out?" And this is back in the 2000s, so it's all through Messenger. Messenger was a Cupid, because she would use her user ID to for us three to talk. And
remember
then
that?
I mean, and we're talking
Messenger?
about like back in
Of
our
course.
early
Okay.
20s. No, you guys
was-
probably weren't even born yet.
No, dude, I was about to ask you, is this AOL Messenger?
This is AOL Messenger,
AOL
where the
Messenger.
computer used to
It
make
was
the little,
MSN.
little noise.
MSN.
Yeah,
Oh my
MSN.
gosh.
Yeah.
This conversation just got 10 times better, y'all.
Yeah, no, it was very interesting. And so we, this girl moved on. She moved out of state, but back in the day, the users would stay there when you're online, and that's how we became like online friends. She would, "Hey, how are you?" Like I would be, doing work, and then I was here, and "Hey, how are you? How are you doing?" By this time, she had already graduated. She was in Dallas at a Bible school, and so we kept in touch. And then for like a year or so, we would talk on the phone. She would call me. I mean, her goal was to bring me to Jesus.
Yeah.
Like
I
every
just
time
thought
she
he
would
was a
call
great
me.
guy to be with Jesus. Not nothing. I didn't think anything because I couldn't even remember him that much.
Yeah, no, there was like no physical attraction.
No.
There was not there. It was more like a friend.
Okay.
Yeah.
And she's just a couple years younger than me, so it was really cool. We would make each other laugh, and then like we wouldn't talk for months, and then we would run into each other. Hey, well, let me call you, and then we will talk again. And so the friendship went on like that for
3-4 years.
For years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And
How,
then,
how old were you guys around this?
21,
Okay.
22.
Okay, young 20s.
You were in high school when you left, so you're like 19, 20.
Okay.
So, yeah. But then one day, she tells me she's gonna, this is like a couple years later now, and then, like a year and a half or so, or 2 years. And so by from the time that we met, it was like dark and we couldn't check each other out. But there was no attraction. Like we were just friends. But she shows up. Remember you're like, "Hey, I'm coming to town. I gotta go to my friend's wedding." And then like this beautiful girl shows up. I'm like, "Oh, this girl has potential. there's something could be here." Pero she was very like focused in school, and you were traveling a lot because she was in the worship team at Christ for the Nation. So we were like we wouldn't talk for months, and then all of a sudden like
it was just like if I would join MSN because in Bible school we couldn't use any. You could have a cell phone, but it's it was Bible school, so you were very focused in school.
Okay.
And so whenever I would go in to check my email, and if I would see him online, I'd be like, "Hey, how are you? Have you gone to church?" And he'd be like, "I visited," or he would come up with crazy things like, "Hey, why do Christians tithe?" And he would get me started.
The irony of life. No. Yeah. We would have some deep conversations.
Yeah, it was just like a once a year, twice a year that we would talk.
It was a cool friendship because I would kind of poke on her brain or like what is it? Why are you so passionate about being a Christian? Or she would ask me, how's El Paso? I miss El Paso. It was a really cool conversation. But the little bug about like me liking her was when I saw her to be we was like a little date to go on her friend's wedding.
Okay.
Pero she went back, life went on, and we still stayed really good friends. So I was doing my own thing, and then it was a beautiful friendship, like a friendship that I valued a lot.
I would pray for him.
Can I pray for you? Yeah, she would be like, we would talk, and then she's like, "Let me pray for you," and she would just bring the fire on me, and I'll be like, "Okay,
Lord,
I'll take it."
saved.
You planted the seed.
I was
she did.
The Holy Spirit.
But it was like it was interesting. Now I look back, and it was like how God kind of lined it up because I was having my inner debates. You know, my dad by this time my whole family is a Christian by this time. I'm the only rebel that's exploring other things. So I would read books about religion because I was taking religion classes in school.
Oh wow.
And I would test her. I would put her to the test, but she was faith-filled, and she would bring me back to
the
the
truth.
truth. Yeah,
Come on,
to the
man.
truth.
Awesome.
And then she would be like, "Oh, yeah, I need to pray for you. Let's pray for you." And she would start praying.
Let me
Wow.
rebuke you.
Yeah. And then we lost, like, again, we
Communication.
lost touch, and months, almost a year would go by. And then Hurricane Katrina hits, and I call her. I try to get a hold of her to get to.
My parents lived in Louisiana.
Yeah, to make to see how they're doing, because I know that her parents were in Louisiana.
Okay.
And she was still in school. She's like, well, as soon as school is over, I'm headed back. And so we stayed in touch again, like, how are things over there? And like just talking, you decide to stay, right? No,
No,
you
I
were
went
gonna
to
stay
visit.
for the winter, but she took a job while she's there because they were short on bilingual people. They reached out to her family's local church where she would go to look for somebody that could help out with FEMA, and she ended up like with this HR role, recruiting people from like all over the world to help out rebuild Louisiana.
Wow.
Wow.
And so talking, I tell her, well, my friend's looking for a job. We were working at AT&T back then. It was Singular.
Okay.
We were working at an
Oh,
accounting
Singular,
center
dude,
that
I
they used to
remember
have
You
here.
all use flashbacks. But
Yeah.
I could see the little icon.
And I was already working there, but he was like they were gonna lay him off because they were doing like, so he knew he was gonna lay off. He was gonna get married. And I told her, I was like, "Are you HR?" And it's like, "Yeah, well, you want to come work?" And I'm like, "No, I'm good, but my friend needs a job." And then she's like, "Well, tell him to send the resume, and I'll see what I can do." He sends the resume, and then she hires him.
Oh no.
And then like my friend comes back the next day. He's like, "I'm so excited, thank man, your friend." She's like, "It's too good to be true, but this is how much they offered me. They're gonna get me a truck. They're gonna get me a company phone."
Wow.
So I call him like, "Are you serious? You're gonna get my friend all of this?"
It's
She's
a
like, "Yeah, well,
prank.
we need people. We need to equip them when we get here." I'm like, "Well, get me a job." And she's like, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "Yeah, get me a job." Because I mean, for those days, it was an amazing salary and great benefits and everything. You know, she did good. So she hired me, and then we packed. We needed to be there in 3 days.
Take in mind, this is like on a Tuesday. And I talked to my manager and I'm like, hey, what if it's 2 instead of 1 person that we're hiring? And she's like, if they have to be here by 8 in the
Friday.
morning, Friday.
So we literally quit on Singular that day, and we packed. And I was driving a Mustang back then. We packed as much as we could in the trunk and headed over to Louisiana.
So you
my
guys
friend
from
and
El
I.
Paso to Louisiana?
Yeah.
He moved to.
Yeah, we needed to be Friday morning for our orientation. And so I ran into her a couple times, and then time went by. I moved to New Orleans because that's where I got stationed. We both got stationed in New Orleans. She was in Baton Rouge.
It's like an hour difference.
Like it's another city.
Okay.
So we would see each other, and then you came back to Dallas.
She
was like all over the place,
Everywhere.
but I was already working there, and I was working 14, 16 hours a day.
Oh wow.
Every single day. Like it was chaos down there. It was crazy. But a parenthesis, during that time, we had gone back in touch, and it was when I even reached out to her about her family. I had became a Christian. I had an encounter with God during that period of time. It was a year when we didn't speak. Like she was doing her own thing, and I was doing my own thing. And she was one of the first people that came back into my mind. She's like, she really sold in me about my faith.
Yeah.
And I remember trying to call her, y no te encontraba. I remember like one day I got a hold of her. She's like, no, I'm like in Mexico somewhere. I don't know where. I'll call you back. And then she never called me back. And I said, okay. So when the hurricane hit, I reached out again. And I said, hey, I just want to make, thank you for praying for me. I've been going to church for months already. I had an encounter with the Lord, and I'm starting to serve with the youth, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, oh, well, congratulations. Good for you. Good for you. Yes. And then the whole hurricane thing happened. And so that's kind of how we connected.
Connected again.
But long story short, she moved back to Dallas.
For a while.
I stayed in New Orleans. I fell in love with New Orleans. I fell in love with the people. I fell in love with the church because she connected me with her local church. and that's where my story begins, really, where I start serving the Lord, because I plugged into the church, and then just God started doing so many things in my life that I made the decision to stay. I was working almost 3 years with FEMA, and then the project ended, and my contract ended per se, and then but I decided to stay. So I remember deciding to stay, calling my family and saying, "Hey, I'm staying." Yeah, we ended up staying there. Later on, she moved back to Baton Rouge.
Okay.
So we would see each other at church, but the friendship was always there. I was, focused on serving God, and so was she. So we would kind of run into, we were in the same circle of friends, and the youth. We were both serving for the youth. She was serving with the teenagers, and I was more serving with the older people.
Wow.
And it was crazy because our relationship was always friendly, but yo le tiraba ahí los perros de repente, because, she was beautiful. And she had a beautiful heart. She has a beautiful heart.
Raquel's
and so I
blushing.
pursued her for a while. Un día, I was like, pues lo va a tirar el rollo, a ver si. But she was focused.
Yeah.
She was
Still am.
focused.
Was.
So sí, yeah. And then I kind of gave up on it, and I'm
Yeah.
like, and started. I remember getting really focused on serving in my church, and did a few mission trips. I started serving with the outreach team, so I became very involved with that, where nothing else was in my mind but to serve the Lord. We started doing a mobile clinic. We built a translation team for the Hispanic community there to help with medical needs through this outreach program.
Okay.
And so the years went by, but we both stuck around.
Many years.
Really?
We were friends. We would serve together. We got in a couple of fights and a couple of mission trips. She would get a little jealous. Like, we were just friends. She kept me on the friend zone,
Okay.
And I respected that. And so one day that I asked her out, she was clear, and she said, "You know what? I'm not interested in dating. I don't believe in dating. So if you are interested in me, you have to pursue me and win my heart, and then we're gonna talk about marriage."
I said that.
It was very
snap.
straightforward. She
Nice.
kind of got involved with this book that was going on back in the day. Never be no, what's it called?
I Kiss Dating Goodbye.
I Kiss Dating Goodbye. She would tell me, "I'm reading this book, and this guy's right, and I'm not gonna date. I'm gonna get so lost in God that the guy that comes and fights me needs to get lost in." She would come up with some really
What is the book called?
cheesy quotes.
Don't read it. It's
Okay.
called
Don't read
I
it.
Kiss Dating Goodbye, but the author, it's...
Years went by. And
Well,
the
I
author-
read it when I was younger, so
Yeah.
it made me like, oh, it makes sense. Like, he talks about not like dating per se, like to meet people, but he did it in a more like reserving kissing and holding hands and all that stuff until marriage. So it made sense to me. Like, yeah, you're right. I mean, we're dating all these people, and then you just give pieces of your heart away. So I just, after reading that book, I was like,
So that was kind of her
"I'm away from my
pushback
husband."
quotes. And so she kept me on the friend zone for a while, and then I stepped back too, and I said, but when we would serve, and maybe a girl or two would kind of start coming by, she would like scare them away.
Wow.
Right? But no, I think out of everything, it's been a friendship. Like, she's still my best friend. Like, we became really good friends.
Wow.
And once in a while we would have, even though we would fight, we're in the same circle of friends. We would get in a fight or two, or the arguments are, when you're sitting in someone's house and get all the singles and having conversations, we would have our disagreements, but I would always be observing her character, and something that really attracted me to her character. And
That's awesome.
yeah, years went by, and long story short,
Wow.
we started dating.
And were you guys at your parents' church or another church?
Yeah, I wear my family in Healing Place Church in Baton Rouge. Shout out.
Shout out,
Shout out
nice.
to
Healing
everyone.
Place,
Healing
Spanish
Place.
campus.
And your
Spanish
parents are still
campus.
over there?
Yes,
See?
my family lives my siblings.
Her
and
whole
my
family
parents.
is
Oh, wow.
is still up there.
Baton
Yeah,
Rouge.
my brother is one of the Spanish campus pastors. So.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, I love that church. I mean, if you guys ever go there? No,
Same.
it gave me a going to Bible school was good, but hands-on serving and really doing ministry was there where I kind of got it when I went to Bible school and then I moved to Louisiana, and just seeing the need of like Katrina had hit, and you just like, I mean, there was not a lot of technology back then. So it was like it hit, and then you see a city pretty much like a ghost city. It's like, oh wow, like, so it's serving. So I started getting involved in the heart of the church is serving, which it should be the heart of the church, but their theme is like servolution. So it was serving everyone, loving everyone through serving, and it really felt like I had to stay there, you know. So I stayed there after Bible school and after traveling a lot.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. So you were traveling because I know you
Yeah,
were
so
saying that you was
so I
traveling
did
a lot.
Bible school, and then I was in and out from Dallas, and then I would trying to see finding a place, but then after praying and just thinking, okay, I mean, just praying and thinking, because when you go to Bible school, sometimes you feel like you're gonna go and then God's gonna send you from there. But for me, it was a different experience. It was more like I got confused. Like I went to Bible school, but it was more like I wanted to be a missionary. But then in Bible school, you start seeing more things and then more opportunities to serve. That for me, my experience, it was more like I graduated and I didn't have any. What was I gonna do? Like I was either do I continue studying or, and I saw many friends that just continued their life. Like they went to Bible school for a good foundation. But for me, it was like I wanted to serve. So I wanted to like either be a pastor or a missionary or something. And so finding Healing Place was like the place where I knew I had to stay, and that was my home church.
Especially because there was a lot going on
That's a-
post Katrina.
Yes.
It was almost like a revival going
Yeah.
on.
Okay.
There was a lot of people
Outreach.
moving from on the Hispanic side. A lot of people from different places moving to Baton Rouge, where it's a city that's very low percentage Hispanic. But so that the Hispanic community started growing a lot, and God was doing amazing.
Yeah, it was
things.
like an 80-member church, like the Spanish campus. So it's a Healing Place church, and then they had an extension, which was their Spanish ministry.
Okay.
And that was like only 80 of us. And then after Katrina, it started like it's a 500-member church right now. So,
No, yeah.
so it grew. I mean, for it's a minority. I mean, Louisiana doesn't have. It has Hispanics, but not like
Right.
That's El Paso.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ratio wise, it's a huge church. Like, and people from all over Latin America. It wasn't just Mexicans. Like,
Yeah.
so
It's a beautiful church. We have
that's awesome.
amazing memories from there. For us, it was a school.
it was a school for
It
sure.
was a school to learn to serve the Lord by serving people.
That's awesome.
And so coming back to our story, we dated after many years of being on the friend zone. We started dating, and then we got married 2 years later. So we dated for 2 years. We dated for a year, got engaged a year later, and then got married.
Okay.
And now we've been married 13 years and 3 boys.
Nice, man. Congrats.
Start. Whoa.
No, that's cool. That's awesome. So let me slow down. I want to slow down a little bit. You guys said a lot of really good things, but I want to like dig deeper into where the heart comes from, because you're not, we're not just born and like 1 year old in diapers. I'm gonna serve the Lord, like so. I'm very curious where that comes from. So let me ask this. Hector, you were saying that Raquel, you were always praying for him and stuff like that when you met. So did you grow up in church?
Yes, I grew up in church.
Okay.
And then when I was 17 in high school, so I struggled a lot with my weight growing up. So it made a lot of like insecurities in me. And I was just like, So going to church was good. I knew God and Jesus. I knew about my mom has like, she really put it in us. Like if you would fall, we wouldn't go to the doctor. We would pray and the Lord will heal you. And it really would. Like it would happen. If I had a fever before medicine, my mom, that's just my mom, who my mom is. And so I grew up like with that, I guess, faith. Like she taught me faith. But when I was 17, I was like struggling with my self-esteem and just like, I would always pray, I want to be skinny. I want to lose weight. Why am I fat? Like, this is just true. I wouldn't ever think because I'm eating, because I'm overeating. You know what I mean? I was just like, so when I was 17, I just had to experience God. And so I went to a retreat, a youth retreat. And I was just like, God, if you're real, like I saw all these young people on fire for God. And I was just like, if you're real, like touch my heart. I want to serve you because I believe in you, not because my mom taught me to believe in you or because people were telling me.
Right.
So it was just an encounter, like a genuine. It was a midnight group with some friends. We had gone to a summer camp for youth, and all my friends were on fire for God. And I was just telling them like I just feel like I love God and respect Him because of what they taught me, but I've never like experienced Him. And I was 17, and since that night it was just like he lives. Like I don't know how to explain it. It was just literally a prayer. And I got home. I remember I got home like at 1 in the morning. It was my grandma's home. It was in Mexico, and I was there for the summer. So I went to the camp. After the camp, they prayed for me, and then I remember getting home and grabbing a Bible and just reading it. Like I was so thirsty for reading the Word of God, and so
Wow.
I started reading it in like Isaiah, and like I just would understand things. Like I would read it and be like, okay, and I would just pray, and then read it and then pray, and this thirst for the Word of God at 17. And then that's where I started. And it's crazy because at 18, my weight loss journey started. And it's just like, I almost feel like if God protected me with that, or He used it for my good instead of my bad. Like it was just great to, it was almost like I was ready. I guess my heart was so in love with God that He started like shifting these things that I was struggling with. So like I started eating healthier. I had a weight loss journey, and then I would just continue to like read the Bible. And so I was going to magnet school in Bel Air here in El Paso because I wanted to be a doctor. But then I was so in love with God that I was like, no, I want to like serve Him. I want to go to China. Take me, like pick me. You know, I want to go to another country.
Wow.
And so that's where I mean, to think back now, I'm like, that was what's it called?
Naive.
Naiveness at its finest. Because I remember, I mean, we didn't have much of internet and stuff, so I would like search for like Bible institutes or the first one I found was Hillsong, but it was way on the other side of the country, so I was on the other side of the world, so I was like, there's no way. My parents are not gonna let me go there. And then I found a master's commission in Phoenix, so I signed up for that, but then they ended up closing it. And so I was just like on pursuit of like,
Okay.
I want to find out where can I go. I need to go get ready, like get prepared.
That's awesome.
And then I found out about Christ for the Nations, and I applied. Had never gone to Dallas, never, like, I just went by faith. I'm going to Dallas. I would tell everyone, like, I'm going to Dallas to go to school.
Wow.
And my parents, now I think back, I was 18 and they let me go, and they were just like, are you sure you're going to stay there? I was like, yeah, it's this much. And I raised the funds. I worked for it, and yeah.
Wow.
Talk about,
And they were like,
I mean,
they were fine
I think
with
I look
it?
back and I had none of my siblings went to college, to Bible school, or out of, you usually do that when like somebody went before you. But I was like, no,
You
I'm
were
going to
pursued.
Dallas, and I sure did.
Wow.
And the Lord just, it's
Let the
crazy.
way
Yeah.
open the
And
doors.
I grew up in church, but I got on fire at 17, and everything just made sense. Like life is about God. And I still consider myself a little radical. Like I'm just like, it's Jesus, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's
So,
awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you the youngest or the oldest?
Second to the last one, so it's 5 of us.
Okay.
And then I was gonna be the baby, but I had another bonus little sister at the end. Yeah.
Nice.
Aw.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's where one of my friends that was here, shout out Andre, he said something really cool, and I was like, I have to steal that. It's like God's a father. God's not a grandfather. Meaning like, you
Yeah,
can't
that's true.
live off of your parents' faith.
Right.
Like your parents' faith is not going to save you. You have to develop your own faith and come to Christ, right? When He calls you. So that's where my question was headed. It's like I always want to know when is that switch? When someone is not born into the church, but like grows up in church. When does that switch happen, and how does that switch happen? Going from I've heard about God all my life, I go to church just because that's what we do in my family, but then when that conviction hits you, when Jesus speaks to you and you're like, bro, my faith is unshakable, I know who God is, I know who Jesus is, like when that switches. So for you, it was at this event for the youth, right, in Mexico, you said. That's amazing. And then
it's crazy because Millie's dad, Millie,
Pastor Millie
Pastor Millie
En Joel.
Garcia, her dad was the one that organized that retreat. So I had met Millie and her sisters there, but we weren't like friends or anything. I just knew they were the pastor's daughters. Isn't that crazy? And to
So
think
you've
that,
known her that long?
yes,
That's awesome.
her
Shout out, Midi.
sisters, Millie.
We love Joel and Midi, man. They're awesome pastors. They did an episode with us.
Oh, really?
Recently, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they crushed it. Okay. And so now let me ask you, Hector, you said that you didn't grow up or in church, but
Not at all.
Your parents started.
So we didn't grow up in church.
Okay.
My dad was an alcoholic
Okay.
since I was a kid. But then after trying therapy, hypnosis, and my parents were at the brink of divorce because of that, my dad asked for help. One of my uncles who was a Christian, and my uncle brought him to church, and my dad had like a switch.
Wow.
He stopped drinking and smoking, and his life just spoke to me. I was crying. He was a great father. He's always been a great dad, very supportive, hardworking, typical Hispanic family where where they're just trying to be good parents, but God was not at the center of it. And then around the time that he became a Christian, I was around 16. He starts going to church, and in a matter of a year, he has like this change. Like the radical change came where he stopped drinking, and for us was like, okay, well, whatever they're doing there, keep doing it.
Right.
But then, a month went by, 2 months went by, 6 months went by, and you could see his progression. He started plugging into the church. My dad's very quiet, very introverted, but despite that, his life was changing. He was speaking to us. Then my mom was so excited because then their marriage started getting better, and so my mom jumps on board, and she comes to Christ, and then so it's about a year where I'm 17, and then I'm in this, my feelings are all over the place because I'm a bit upset about my dad, giving us a hard time these past years. I would tell my mom, just leave him, and we'll figure it out. We'll help you.
Yeah.
But then he starts changing, and there's this little grudge going around with my dad. But then he starts changing, and it was like, well, whatever God is doing, good for you,
Right.
But then it came to a point where his personality and his character started changing to where he was like, you guys need to start coming to church with us on Sunday.
Wow.
My brother and I, because my little sister would go. And so you need to come to church. Like, you want to come with us? And I would party, and they gave me this free. It was a quote unquote healthy family, but there were these gaps, so they gave me, I always did good in school, so they gave me that freedom. I had my own car, I had a part-time job. I was a good kid. You would ask my parents, and I was a good kid. But there's this rebellion that's staring around, and I would go out with my friends and everything, but he would tell me, hey, I'm not going to ask you for anything. Just come to church on Sunday. Just come with us. And one day my uncle's there, and my uncle's like, hey, you need to come. There's young people there, blah, blah, blah. And so I said, okay, well, I'll go. I'll just leave me alone. To leave me alone, I started going.
Okay.
So, the first Sunday was kind of strange because it was like a Pentecostal hardcore church, and everyone wearing a tie, and so it was like, okay. The music was good. The singer with the worship team was really good. So I was like, okay, well, this is not bad. And then the sermon got interesting. Now, around this time, I'm still in high school, but I was always exploring other things,
Okay.
And then they do the altar call, and kind of like what we do at our church. It was like, hey, you want to come? And I'm like, no, I'm okay. No, just, all you got to do is pray, and blah, blah. So I did a little bit more of pressure and stepped into the altar and did the prayer.
Yeah.
And then my parents were so happy. It's like, oh, ya recibiste a Cristo, mijo, blah, blah, blah. He's like, you coming next week? I'm like, yeah, I'll come. I was like, this is not bad. I'm giving up 2 hours for them to leave me alone and let me party and let me do my thing. Let's keep doing it. And I would go, so I went for almost a year. I sympathized the church. I was still kind of doing my own thing, but I would just go and listen and go with the flow. So I was, every Sunday counted. Now I think back, every Sunday counted because it was almost like God was dropping something in my heart.
Right.
So my party life was not the same. You know, there was this little guilt going on there with what they would preach at you, and things were just, you know, it's almost like things start changing.
Yeah.
And then I graduated and I start college, and I kind of deviated a little bit with different environments and just where you're college and universities nowadays. Like, I think it's you gotta be really careful. Like, not with my kids, or because it's you know, the demonic side is there. There's so much going on, freedom, and it's like kids might, you know, all the kids there are exploring different things, their faith, their sexuality, there's so much going on.
Right.
And so I deviated, and it was, I always kept it in the corner of my eye and of my mind, and my family, you know, my dad, you know, left me alone with it, but I would go once in a while. And during those years, during that time is when I run into Raquel. And then, you know, my uncles, you know, from those that kind of embraced my dad into his walk, would kind of reach out to me and, hey, go to church, or talk to me, or try to minister to me. So God would always put key people in my life to keep me around.
Right.
But my encounter with the Lord didn't happen till like 3 or 4 years later. And I had some knowledge of what was expected of me now as a believer, as a Christian, that when I had my encounter with God, that's when that fire that she's talking about was in my heart, that I wanted to serve God. Okay. And so the perfect scenario for me was moving to Louisiana, because I'm on fire for God. I remember talking to my pastor and saying, hey, I have this job in Louisiana, but I don't want to, I don't want this to end. And I remember he gave me the blessing. He's like, hey, I'm going to pray for you. They were struggling as a church. And I remember, you know, they were thinking of closing the church. The pastor was older and he was going to retire. His son wasn't thinking of taking over the church. And I don't know, it was almost like God knew that I guess I had no future, I guess, as far as serving the Lord there. And he gave me he's like, good for you. And I guess because I was relatively new, you know, the pastor was like, hey, as long as wherever you go, there's going to be a place for you to worship, and there's going to be a place for you to serve. So go on. And so I left to Louisiana. Wow. And then, you know, I moved over there, and I'm working like crazy. But I guess, I don't know if you knew that there was, I don't know, she would always push me like, hey, don't stop going to church and this and that. And then I made some good friends when she helped me plug into the church. When I moved over there, I started making friends. So I guess talk about the power of a community, you know, of building friendships that are gonna push you to seek God more, and to pray, and just godly relationships. I think that helped a lot. For sure. And then I think, you know, plugging into the church, despite all the work that I had, helped me grow my faith. And then once I got out of FEMA, it was just about serving the Lord. And you know, you're young and single, so you have all the time in the world. So it was fun.
Responsibilities.
Yeah, it was fun.
Let me rewind to when you said you had an encounter with the Lord. I'm very interested in that, because you said that as a young man, you were also exploring other religions, and you were like studying other stuff. Walk us through what that encounter with the Lord was for you. How did you know that it was God? How did you know, like in your heart, okay, this is the truth. From everything I've studied, this is the truth.
You know, it's interesting that you say it. And when she was saying now, I think the importance of having people around you sowing into you, because you know, and I'm not saying that God, I mean, they're like my dad's testimony, where it was just like a switch, like God just changed them. But I believe that maybe for other people, it's progressive. So the time, I think the year, or those years, or that gap of time where I would visit the church and I would listen to the word, I would be prayed on, something, I guess spiritually, something stayed there. Yeah. That it's almost like God puts the pieces together for you. Specifically in my case, it was my encounter with God, where I can tell you my case was where our neighbor was diagnosed with cancer. And I remember the mom, and it's crazy because I remember perfectly. It was a Thursday night, and I'm ready. I'm waiting for my friend to come pick me up because we're gonna go out, and party a little bit. And while I'm waiting for my friend on the porch in my house, my mom's sitting with the neighbor, and she's crying, and she's like, "Well, he's been diagnosed. His full body has been diagnosed with cancer. The only chance is to go to Phoenix and try this treatment." And she was just bawling. And this guy, he grew up there for a while, and then he moved out, but he came back and lived with his parents because of this cancer. And I see my mom uh, talking to her and trying to, encourage her and minister her in her capacity.
Right.
And I just remember while my mom is talking, it's like, okay, my mom's not talking to her about God. My mom should. And like in my mom, I'm holding myself. And I remember like jumping in the conversation and saying, I mean, you have to trust God. Why don't we pray? Like it's like why don't we pray? And I
If
remember
he used the donkey.
I mean, exactly. If he used a donkey, God decided to use me that day. Because I
Yeah.
That's
remember,
crazy.
for me, it was more like, Mom, aren't you a Christian? And because my mom, my mom, she's very outgoing, and she was telling her about everything except like, let's trust God, and we believe in a God that heals.
Right.
And I jumped in, and I'm like, why don't we pray? I think, and I don't remember clearly, but I think the Lord used me that moment to just tell her to trust God and pray, and pray for this guy, and pray. We started praying for her. So I felt convicted because I'm like, I'm about to go. And I kept looking at my watch. I remember my friend never showed up. He showed up like hours later,
No.
Oscar. And I remember praying for her, and we could all feel the presence of God at that moment.
Wow.
And she was crying, and she asked us, she's like, Mijo, talk to him. Let's take him to church. I wasn't even going to church myself. And I'm like, yeah, I guess. Yeah, no, yeah, we'll figure something out. And my mom was like, no, yeah, well, let's go to church, and we'll take you to church on Sunday. So
Wow.
I get back to my room, and I just get on my knees, and I just start crying and crying and crying for hours, and ask God for forgiveness, and thank Him for, I guess, a desire in my heart months back was like, if you're real, I want to feel you. It was crazy because there was a little bit of conviction and guilt going out, and I guess back in those years, like that's all there was to do in El Paso, party, go
I
to the
think till
bars and
now,
go to
like,
Juarez. So starting to go now it was different. There was like this little guilt, this anxiety, like I don't think I belong here, but I still was there.
Wow.
And then this happens, and it was kind of like glued together.
Mira.
And then from there, I just promised the Lord, you know what, I'm going back to church. And then I went that Sunday. Ironically, that Sunday happened. There was a guest speaker at the church. This Dominican guy prophesying over people, praying over people. So he went. I mean, God was. Now I look back and it's like crazy because this guy showed up to the church. Our neighbors showed up to a church. This guy prays over him, healing over him. Months later, we find out that he healed. That the guy, he started a medical treatment in Phoenix, like a experimental treatment,
Yeah.
and the Lord healed him.
Wow.
And then I remember him praying over me, and started like declaring all these crazy things. And he said, God, the Lord's gonna use you. You're gonna go all over the world, and your family's gonna serve. When you get married, like, and it was funny because, and I always think about it because the years later, I moved to Baton Rouge to Spanish campus. Our pastor's Dominican, and the way they would talk was like, "Where is this guy from?" Later on, I found out the guy was Dominican, but I don't know. I guess it's like how God puts things together.
Yeah.
But yeah, that Sunday was like my comeback. The prodigal son coming back, and then after that, months went by. Because it was like we're talking about like January of 2005. And then I'm on fire for God all those months. And then September, Katrina hits. And then I couldn't get in touch with Raquel until like October, November of 2005. Because I was curious what was going on with her and with her family.
Okay.
So God's timing is just perfect. Like now I look back and it's like our timeline was just like,
You're just
one
playing
thing
chess.
after another,
Just putting all the pieces.
But it's now I look back and like you said, it's that moment that you remember. And so I always say, like, I remember even telling her, I mean, I'm a sympathizer. I believe, I cry. I already did the prayer. I'm a Christian. And she's like, no, she would tell me, you're not a Christian. You're not serving God. She would tell me, but she was right. Like I would sympathize at church. There was always like this, I guess, gratefulness for the church for what they did or for what God did in my dad's life, because that turned around the path of our family as well, you know. But nothing had happened in me just yet until that January of 2005.
Wow. Dude, that's so amazing that in your life there's both types of testimonies where in one situation with your dad, it was a night and day switch. It was immediate conviction, immediate cold turkey. I'm done. With my previous life, and then with you, it was more of a process. And that I think that's very important to talk about because some let me emphasize on the some, y'all don't get crazy on me, but some Christians expect microwave Christianity where it's like someone from the street, and I say this as a prodigal son myself, someone from the street shows up to church, let's say, reeking like weed, right? And then they accept Christ. And then the next Sunday, they show up smelling like it again. And it's unfortunate that how many people are in there like, ugh, I can't believe it. And what happened last week? Was he faking it? God should have changed him by now. And it's like, whoa, like God's timing's perfect, bro. We are not the Holy Spirit to say this is when you're supposed to do X, Y, and Z. Like everyone has their own journey.
Yeah.
Can God heal like a light switch? Yes.
Absolutely.
Have we seen it? Yes. And do other people have a process in their life? Yes. Because I think, and I've seen that every individual has their own way to eventually reach someone else. Because Christianity, for those of you that maybe are not familiar, it's not about I accepted Christ, I'm in the heaven VIP, and I'm done. Like that's it. No, dude. We're supposed to, Matthew 28:19, go out and make disciples. Go out and talk. Go out and spread the gospel. That's what it's all about. That's why I love the book of Acts. This dude, they encounter Jesus. Look at the life of Peter, bro. He denies Jesus. First of all, Peter was like, nah, mis chicharrones truenan aquí. Like, I'm the best disciple. Lord, no one's going to be harder than you. And if they're going to kill you, well, they got to go through me. And acá todo, gallo el vato. But then what happens? He tells him, no, you're going to deny me. And he's like, I would never. And sass,
3 times.
3 times, bro. So when Jesus resurrects and he comes to Peter again, which is interesting that he comes to Peter the same way he went to him the first time fishing. That's another rabbit hole. He asks him, Peter, do you love me? And he asks him how many times? 3 times. Do you love me? But in the original Greek, it's the word love he uses is different. And then the last one is, if I'm not, someone probably fact check me on this, I want to say it's agape, which is like more than, it's like the ultimate, love. And he's like, I love you, Lord. And he's like, all right then, bam, Matthew 20:19, right? So from there, you see a transformation of a Peter that was a denying the Lord to now in Acts 1, this dude is like preaching. He's on fire. He's like, I am not going to shut up. I am unstoppable and I'm going to tell my testimony, So I just think it's very amazing, bro, that you have both scenarios in your own life.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's and as you mentioned, I think God writes your own love story for you and between you and him. Your process is different. Everyone's process I think it's different. And a lot of it has to do with how you grow up, who you grow up with. You know, some stories are harsher and more sad than others. But a lot of it has to do with just the process that you have it and your personality and what kind of person I'm. Uh, very thoughtful about things. I don't jump in right away. That's just part of my personality, and that was also my process in my spiritual life. I don't leave you right away. Like, I need some facts. I need some history there, and so I think I had to go through that process first before truly surrendering my life to God. Where I think my soul was already crying out for Him, but I had to go through that process.
That's true.
Wow. Do you have anything you want to ask?
No. This is all.
Because I have a question.
Go for it.
Okay. Raquel, I have a question for you.
Yes.
You said that you're still a bit of, what's the word you use? Like not radical, but like
Straight up.
yeah, I'm just gonna say on fire.
Yes.
For the Lord. For the people listening that are maybe struggling with like, man, I just don't feel God right now, or I just don't feel like I used to be, I don't have that fire that I used to have, or whatever. What do you do? How do you stay on fire for the Lord?
Intentionally praying and reading the word. I think the word is alive, which is the Bible. It's alive. It doesn't matter where you read it and what you read. It there's days where I'm like, where I'm going through things and I'm like, okay, who do I go to? I mean, who else is better than, I mean, especially if you've known the Lord before and maybe your fire's not there, it's just going to the word, forcing yourself, making yourself like read the word and asking the Holy Spirit. Because I think, and nowadays we do what we feel. Oh, it's like, it's very, oh, I didn't feel it in my
Feelings
heart.
driven.
The feel. There's days where I don't feel it and I've had 3 hours of sleep, but I know that if I wake up at 3:45 in the morning, He's going to meet me there and the day's going to go different. Like there's sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't sleep. The Lord will wake me up at 3:45 and it's just this like, I'll wake up and it's like, Lord, I need you. Like, and I'll ask Him to just like, I need you. I'm going through this and I think, it's forcing ourselves just like anything. I think the passion for the Lord is, I believe in the Holy Spirit. And so the Holy Spirit is what we don't see, but we can feel. And feeling as not as like our feelings, but feel that He's there. And through the word, it's alive. The word is alive. You can read a psalm and you can read a Proverbs and it'll speak to your heart. And I think it's just like discipline of making yourself go there on good days and not so good days. And I think that's just my secret to it. And it's not a secret. It's just like, okay, I know where to go. It's you. I mean, who else? You can go to a friend, you can go to counseling, you can go to things, and those things are not bad. But I've found in my 42 years, it's in Him where I find, I mean, even to put you the right people. There's days where I've like cried out to Him and I'm like, I don't feel this, or God, this is how, what I'm feeling, how things are. But I know that if I stand in your word, you're solid. You open my eyes to see what you have for me. You go before me, you go behind me. Like He's the one that directs. He knows the future. So who else can we, I mean, that verse, like who else can I go to? It is real. I mean, especially on these days and times where there's so much information, so many podcasts, so many opinions, even misleading information. I think it's, if we run to Him first, I'm not saying the other things and there's not wisdom and advice, but if we run to Him, believe me, there's been times where I'm like, I cannot believe what you just did, Lord, because I cried out to you in the morning and you just did it. And that's just how I keep imagine if I'm not going to be on fire. Like I cried about it in the morning and then He answers at night, or even though I cried sometimes in the morning and He answers 3 months later, but He does it. How do you not like walk on fire for God for things like that? I think that's just what I've learned and what I've done for the past 20 something years, that I've walked with Him.
How would you, to piggyback on that, how did you start when you were like 7 or younger than that? Like, how did you get to that process?
So I think it was just like reading. Nobody told me, like I would just read the Bible and then journal what I felt like I've gone back to some journals and I'm like, okay, what was I thinking, right? But I've been like praying before reading the Bible and just asking the Lord, like, Lord, speak to me if there's something I need to know about you, or is there something you want to speak to my heart. And then I read the Bible, and then um it's if there's a verse that I feel that caught my attention, is there's a story, sometimes I'll read a whole chapter, sometimes I'll read the whole a small verse. As a mom life, sometimes you're like, oh Lord, this little piece. And then I'll just try to journal as much of whatever I felt in my heart, and believe me, that feeds me through the day. Like, if I read something in the morning, and it's crazy because sometimes I don't even know what I'm gonna face through the day, and then I'm like at work or during the day, and I'm like, Lord, you spoke that in the morning, and that's
Wow.
exactly what you're. And it's just that habit. I see it like exercise. How do you start exercising? Sometimes you just start by walking. Some people start walking at a park, and then you notice that you feel like you need a little bit more. And so there's times where I'll get a good book that's talking about a Bible character, and I'll just try to dig deeper. There's times where I read a book of um uh praying for your husband, and things like that. And it's crazy because the Lord will use it, like, for us, and for my marriage. But I think it's the word. I mean,
Creating
the
the habit.
Bible.
Okay.
Anything that's I love studying, and there's a lot of information out there, like good study books that they'll tell you. But I always have that fear of, like, let me filter it through the word. Let's make sure it's there, because
Right. Oh,
it's
yeah.
that fear. I don't know if that's what I grew up with, like, just fearing, like, okay, is it biblical? Is it? And I love to dig a little deeper, like, okay, what does this really mean?
Right.
Just to make sure that it's the right what they're really saying.
Right.
But it's
And like
just
you said,
that
there's a
daily.
lot of information out there. So you want to make sure that you're reading or you're learning from the correct.
Mm-hmm.
So what more than the Bible itself? Or
Right.
that's what it is.
Right.
That's
And
good.
sometimes I am that person that's like, well, let me see how it says it in this version. Like,
That's
Dude,
good.
yes.
That's
yeah.
good.
I was relating to what you were saying, bro, when you were like, I'm studying this and I'm learning about this other stuff. I went through, and still not going through it, but I'm a geek. I'm a nerd, and I like learning about um as of recent, like the history of the Bible and why you can trust the Bible. We recently did a episode with Steven and Andre on why you can trust the Bible. And we went through, as I was preparing for this episode, I went down that rabbit hole, bro. And holy moly, like, and the purpose of that episode was to reach the atheist, the agnostic, of, like, out of all these religions, there's a rise of Islam happening around the world. Why? I don't know. Like, ladies, if you really understand why the hijabs are worn, that in itself should push you away from Mr. Muhammad marrying a 6-year-old girl. But anyway, that's besides the point. As I'm going into Jesus, like, Christianity's foundation is the resurrection. If Jesus did not resurrect, everything else falls apart.
Mm-hmm.
So as you're going through the resurrection, and then you learn about Ali Strobel, atheist that investigates the Bible because his wife becomes a Christian. He thinks she's brainwashed, and he goes, I am, as an investigative journalist, I'm going to prove to you that what you believe is a bunch of nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
The dude ends up accepting Christ after all his research that was just in your face,
Yes, that's an awesome story.
Undeniable. And then I ran into J. Warner Wallace, the author of Cold Case Christianity, who, same, thing. He was an atheist, he was a cold case detective in California, and he treated the air quotes murder of Jesus as a cold case, and he started investigating it as such, and he became a Christian after everything that he found, all the evidence, mountains of evidence, that is Jesus was real, bro. Like, what more do you want? And not just as a real person, because a lot of people will acknowledge, oh yeah, well, Jesus was a good man, he was an influential teacher, a prophet, whatever you want to call it. But was he the God in the flesh.
Yeah.
Did he actually resurrect? Well, how can someone resurrect from the dead? So anyway, you go through it, bro. And then, so what is the Bible? The Bible is not one book. It's 66 books written over a span of 1,500 years, give or take, across 3 continents in 3 separate languages, Greek, Hebrew, and Aramaic. And the Old Testament, New Testament, like there's so much connections of scripture, dude. Like it's mind blowing. You couldn't do that nowadays. You know, if you want to, they didn't have internet back then. They didn't have WhatsApp. Hey man, I'm gonna write this, so make sure that you write that.
Yeah.
Like it is the word of God speaking to.
And it all points to Jesus.
It all
No
points to
matter
Jesus,
where you
dude.
go, it all points to Jesus from the beginning.
Right.
How do you explain all the prophecies? Over 300 prophecies alone, just in Jesus alone. One of the one that really just me voló la cabeza, Isaiah 53. Isaiah 53. That Isaiah, it's a big book. This passage was written 600-700 years before the birth of Jesus, and it talks about his arrival, his crucifixion, his resurrection in pretty vivid detail. How do you explain that, dude? And then Jesus himself arrives for the Gen Zers. He enters the chat. And he himself is prophesying his resurrection. The temple's going to be torn down and I'll bring it back in 3 days. Dude, like, I don't know. We can geek out here, man. But that when you were talking, bro, I was like relating to you big time because I'm like, dang, that's kind of like, I relate, bro.
That would drive me nuts during college because I took a couple of religion classes. And I mean, outside of the 66 books that we have in the Bible, there's a ton of books out there that were not canonized that are now be used as history books.
Right.
And then even outside of those books, there's history tells us Jesus came into this world. He claimed himself as God. He's the only person that can claim himself as God, not a representation of God, but God in the flesh. And then resurrects after he dies. And when you study religions, there's a ton of prophets and people with that would claim divinity, but they're in a tomb. You go and you go to Muhammad, he's dead in the tomb. His bones are there. You go to other prophets or other religious leaders that have a theory or make you point at a god, but they're dead, or that would claim to be God, but they're there in the tomb. And Jesus' tomb is empty. There's nobody there. And I mean, the witnessing of the miracles that he did, the reenactment of those prophecies that were claimed over him, he reclaims them. And so you read in my time of exploration, for some people it was a crazy guy, but when you start lining up and comparing and looking at the facts and you put it together, what it does in you mentally and spiritually, and you see the testimonies of people's miracle over miracle, is like, how can you not believe in how can you just not believe in his creation? How can you not believe in, I mean, there's nothing wrong with believing in science now, but it's like there's nothing wrong with believing in science.
Let's go there, bro.
But yet the God element, you can't take it out. I mean, we were just in the Grand Canyon a couple of days ago, and looking, I mean, and pictures do no justice into like what God created. Like, how can you not believe in an almighty God?
Yeah.
And so, some of us are very into the details, and some people are just faith-filled. Like my mother-in-law is a faith-filled person, and I think that, as when she was talking, I think another important thing is so if I was to look back and say, okay, if I would have probably stayed at church during that year that I partied instead, probably things would have been different. My growth would have been different. But a lot of it has to do with who are you surrounding yourself with. As she was talking about seeking God in your time and reading the Bible and praying. I'm thankful that I live with her, and she is a huge influence to me. Her fire passes on to me and to the kids. And so that holds me accountable to seek God when I don't feel like it. And then to top it off, I work at a church. I can excuse that and say, well, we got a devotional. We go every Sunday. We're there. But the importance of congregating, the importance of how God, you're talking about Peter, who he instituted the church, the importance of becoming part of the church, plugging yourself into the church. There's no such thing as the perfect church,
Right.
because part of that exploration among those that are trying to seek God is jumping from one church to another, and they jump because there's things they don't like from one church into another.
Right.
Obviously, you have to ask the Lord to give you wisdom to make sure that they're seeking the truth, that it's Bible foundational, that it's Christ centered, that it's a healthy environment, that there's serving going on.
Right.
But at the same time, they're not going to be you're not going to find the perfect church.
Right.
There's always going to be gaps and things that are not right. There's always going to be that imperfection, because it's made out of
Humans.
humans.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Why is there? Why aren't churches perfect? Oh, because humans. Truly.
Yeah, there's no such thing as a perfect church, but there's something powerful about plugging yourself in, especially when you walk in to a church with a seeking heart. I guess this goes out to those that are, going to a church just because they're going, or they're trying to find an answer.
Yeah.
You're gonna find it at church, at God's time, but there's something powerful behind plugging yourself into what God instituted, which is a church.
That's good. And I know you guys have 3 boys. How did that begin? How did you guys start telling them about? Was it just your actions, like living your day to day? Did they see you? Did they hear you guys talking about Jesus? How did you guys start getting them in their walk of believing? Or
One of the non-negotiables we've made since we got married is we're not going to miss church.
okay.
Church Sundays is church. Even if we're out of town, we always try to find a church
Nice.
to go to. And we're
Okay.
big believers. Our love goes out to the online, congregational people that like to go online. But
Yeah.
we believe that there's like more power when you step into a
Cool.
church.
100%.
And I think we made it like a solid thing. Like, it was crazy because we were out of town just a couple of days ago, and the kids asked us, what church are we gonna visit?
Uh-huh.
We were like out in the boonies, we couldn't find one. We ended up plugging in online.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it was like, that's great. I was telling you, it's crazy how they're holding us accountable about
And when I travel, sometimes I travel for business, and they'll be like, "So where are you gonna go to church on Sunday?"
Nice.
I was out on a training 2 weeks ago, and I was like, I had to be at a training and on that Sunday, and he was like, "Mom, I don't think you should go to this trip. You're not gonna be able to go Sunday to church."
Now they
I was
hold us
like,
accountable.
Wow.
Yeah. And
That's
it's
awesome.
just, and I think that's helped us to have the load lighter.
Okay.
Because when you're trusting God that the church is going to do the job to teach them and to let them grow and get involved, they're going to have their own encounter at their own time.
Right.
Because obviously, and we just pray that it's early.
Right.
But the only thing you can do is lead by example.
Yeah.
But I know that
and
before,
we don't force them. Like, even
No.
when we're at church and worship, like, there's days where they worship, especially the little ones. With Sebastian, it's no problem. He's always been a worshiper. But the little ones, though, there's days where they're raising their hands and jumping and clapping, and there's days where they're sitting down. And I always like.
and there's days where they're fighting in the chairs, or there's days where
Wrestling.
they fall asleep in the chairs.
But we don't want to force them. But
Yeah.
I feel like they see us and how we handle anything. I am like my mom, where like, "Mom, my tummy hurts. Let's pray."
Yeah.
So we see them do that. "Mom, can we pray? Like, their tummy hurts," or like that's their first thing they
Go
run
to.
to. So I think setting the example has been
Yeah,
major.
and in our prayer life as well. It's like,
Good.
They'll
they
pray
see
for
us
people in the
pray.
streets.
Yeah.
They'll pray. They'll pray for the homeless. They just do that.
That is awesome.
But it's natural. Like, we've never. They're just, "Mom, can I pray? Can I pray for them?" Yeah, and then they'll go and they're.
And that's not for us to not stay on guard,
Right.
because they're still two of them are still in charter school, but they're still interacting with other kids.
Yeah.
And the devil won't rest, because
Right.
that's who the devil is seeking out,
Right.
And so we stay on guard still. We still try to discipline them, and we try to read the Bible together. But the huge help that we have is just leading by example, where we do have some non-negotiables.
Okay.
We ask for forgiveness to God when we mess up,
And to each other.
and to each other. So they've learned that. So right now they're still little, so it's the basics.
Right.
But I think setting those, I guess, for those that are not married yet, or you're gonna get married, and or you're, it's setting those non-negotiables and
Right.
those boundaries
That is
from
awesome.
the beginning.
So and it was obviously way before you guys had kids. Like that was a non-negotiable.
Mhm.
Okay. That is awesome. Did you guys have let me backtrack. Before you guys had kids, you guys got married. Did you guys have like a list of non-negotiables, or how did?
Yeah, we did. It was called "Save Your Marriage Before It Starts." We did
It's a
that
book.
before. It's a book,
Okay.
and with a workbook.
Yeah.
Our pastor made us do that. I think that was like so
our premarital
amazing.
Okay.
counseling. I guess.
That's a great book.
Have you seen it? Okay, so
Yeah.
the backstory, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's a psychologist studied why people get divorced.
Yep.
And there's they found that the root was like simple daily things that erupted to big things. So the basic things of like who's gonna wash dishes, where are we gonna
throw the
spend the holidays. So
trash.
the main important things, how many kids do you guys want to have?
Oh, wow.
Are you guys gonna have separate bank accounts, or so it's a premarital? There's a book which explains to you, and then there's a workbook that you do. So we did that for before we got married, and it was hilarious because you answer them before you meet with each other, and then when you meet with each other, it'd be like, okay, who's gonna work, you or me? And then it's like both of us would answer some of the so the activity is that whatever you answer, and if in something you guys are totally the opposite, you find a
middle
midpoint,
point,
a
yeah.
middle point.
That's awesome.
Uh-huh.
I didn't know about
And
this
it's
book.
saving your marriage before it starts.
And it helped us bring topics that couples don't bring to the table when
Right.
they're
In-laws,
engaged or when they're
what's gonna happen if your parents age, and all those
That's
things that
important. Yeah.
we're going
Yeah.
through it, you know what I mean? But it's
Yeah.
crazy, like crazy.
Wow.
So it'll be like, I remember who's gonna do laundry. And then I was like, I'll do it. I like to do laundry. Like I don't mind folding
mind
clothes
it.
and hanging it. And then he had put like that out. He didn't like it.
Yeah.
So it was
perfect.
like, okay, I'll take on that one. Or taking out the trash. Crazy things that for me, it was funny. Like, who thinks of these things? But
You'd
when
be
you come, and then the intention behind it is to leave it on the workbook so that when things get a little bit rough, you can come back and be like, okay, we had said this.
You said you
This is
agreed
what
on
we
this.
said.
It's
You were-
written.
Can you repeat the name of the book?
Save your marriage before it starts.
Okay.
It's an old book, but
Yeah.
a
That's
goodie,
awesome.
a good
I
book.
think there's like an updated version to it,
Okay.
yeah. And then it's great for marriage counseling, and you can do it even if you've already married. But it's save your marriage before it starts, and it's cool because the statistics are like a lot of 85% end in divorce, and it's
Wow.
And I think-
finances.
Okay.
Touches topics that you're like, are you serious? And then you look back, it's like, very little things that sneak up into your
yeah.
marriage that you would not think could
Right.
create conflict or
Yeah.
disagreements.
There's people that are OCD to the point that if you do something different, it really bothers them, and then like it goes bad. It evolves into a big conflict, but
Yeah.
Wow.
That's the chill.
yes,
But
yeah.
it's a good. I think it'd be good to
And
give
to
to
do the
someone.
workbook, and to do the workbook, it's funny though.
Yeah.
I'm curious how the newer version works now, but I
Okay.
guess the foundational
It's still there.
things are still
Still
there.
the
Okay.
same.
Yeah.
That's a really good point, guys. And we just talked about this with Kenya and Jorge. So the real this is an unfortunate statistic, but it's the truth. 50% of marriages end in divorce outside of church and in the church.
Mhm.
It's the same. So that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
And we're supposed to be not like the world, right?
Mhm.
So what are some tips that you guys can give? You guys have been married 13 years, you said?
Yes.
What are some tips that you can give couples that are just, going through it? They're always fighting and they're kind of like considering an exit.
run to Jesus.
God,
Come on.
yes.
I think it's. I mean, oh gosh, there's. Divorce has been. I thought it was 85%. I was so wrong. Divorce is at such a high rank, and I think it's accepted in so many areas now. It's like, oh, divorce. Like it's more. I think before people wouldn't get divorced. A lot of people would just hang in there.
Right.
I think for me it would be like number one, talk to Jesus about it. Like really pray about it, and I think, man, maybe I might be wrong with maybe I have a different opinion than a lot of times, because I know a lot of people are like, um yes, prayer is not going to solve everything, but prayer can do 99% of the issue. Like prayer is going to bring you to the right counselor. Prayer is going to bring you to the right people. Prayer might just solve the problem to the root of it, or expose what's going on, because you might think in your head, I know with Hector, I would think it was like, what's wrong? When we just got married, our first year, I considered
Our
divorce.
first year was rough despite the book.
I didn't.
Yeah,
I knew
yeah.
I
The
couldn't
book.
get divorced, but I was like, "Are you serious?
Is this what I signed
is
up
this
for?"
what I signed up for?" Even though we did the save your marriage before it starts thing, and it was a more of a communication problem. I just didn't know what it was. I was like, "What is it? Like, what's wrong with him?" But I wouldn't. Instead of running to someone I would literally just pray and be like, "Lord, bring it up to light," or whatever. And then after a conversation, like it would like just erupt and be like, "Oh, it was that." I guess it's also the perspective that you have. I mean, divorce is not an option. Like I mean, of course there are situations where if it's a life threatening, of course.
Right.
But if it's just a matter of like, because you're being mean to me, or things like childish stuff, not childish stuff. Let me retract. Things that can be solved.
Right.
With it has to do with, be mindful that it's a two-person thing. I never think of like, what's wrong with him. I don't want to think like what's wrong with him, because nothing's wrong with me. But I always ask the Lord, "Lord, show me what I'm not doing right, or if there's something that's going in the darkness, bring it to light. Like, bring it on. I'm not scared. I'm like, bring it to light. What is?" And I think number one would be run to Jesus through prayer to see, because the Lord's going to bring you like that pastor that went to your teller. The Lord is interested in solving that issue. I think sometimes we just keep him out of the equation. So ask him to guide you, to bring out to light, and he'll bring you the right counselors. He'll bring you he'll expose things that are hidden that maybe people think are not going to be. He'll bring them on, and it's like crazy how you can find out things sometimes. And
Right.
I think it's using the Lord in that he's on our side. He's for us, not against us. And I think people that are struggling, I think I would ask myself, like, is this me that I want to exit it? Because I know the Lord doesn't want me to exit it. You know what I mean? Is it me that I'm giving up? Because if it's you and you're not calling on to the one that has the answer, then you just want an excuse to exit. But I think if you run to the Lord and you ask him, "Lord, bring it to light," he'll use anybody or anything to guide you and save your marriage. Because if someone's interested on saving your marriage, it'll be the Lord. He has more intention, because it was his idea. It was his design. So I think a lot of times, if you're struggling in your marriage, it's run to Jesus, ask him, be specific. I think we're not specific sometimes, and it's like, "Lord, show me. Is it something in me? Change my heart. Is it something in him, or is there something going on that I don't know about? Bring it to light." And the Lord, he'll never let you down. I know that for sure. And so I think a lot of times we don't put that first, and we run to others. We run to people, which he puts people and community around us. But I think sometimes we use that first, and it's natural. We want to pour out on someone and let them know. But I've found that if we go out to him and pour out on him, he'll bring the right people, even to guard our hearts.
Right. That's good.
Something that you said without saying
Okay.
is that you are open, or in order to have a happy marriage, you have to be open to being wrong. You have to be open
Yeah.
to be corrected by the Lord, or by anybody, or by the Lord through somebody. So that's amazing.
Yeah.
You guys, you can't feed your family and your ego at the same time.
Yeah.
There is no room for ego in a marriage. Like, si andas mal y lo tienes que aceptar, y el Señor te lo va a revelar. But you have to be open to it, right?
Another thing is, and also this was a non-negotiable as prior to getting married is respect.
Mm,
No matter how upset you get at each other, we don't disrespect each other.
that's good.
We don't cross that respect line.
Right.
And I mean, we've been very upset.
Yeah.
But you know, if you're a person of honor and you're in God, you're accountable to God, and you want to keep yourself accountable, you don't cross that line, the disrespect,
Right.
the name calling, the cussing, the this and that.
Yeah.
And not be afraid. I know that with her, I'd had to learn that. Not be afraid to have uncomfortable conversations
Right.
and just bring it to the table. As hurtful as it's gonna be, if the respect is there, and prayer, obviously, the God's gonna help us figure it out together.
For sure.
But being more practical, that's like a no for me, and she knows that's a no for both of us to
Good.
disrespect each other.
That's good.
And I think out of that, you learn to forgive quicker. You learn to forgive. Period. I
Right.
think forgiveness has also been it's a learning process as the years go by, but it's something very practical that if you just always keep it in the center, that you know you're gonna have to forgive her, or we're gonna have to forgive each other through prayer and God, obviously,
Yeah.
it makes it a lot easier.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes, and I love my wife because she loves the Lord, and I think
Bless her heart.
it's the prayer, the spiritual part is always strong, I guess, on her side.
Okay.
I'm a little bit more practical, but sometimes it's just sitting down on the kitchen table and bringing it on. You know, there's nothing wrong with having a
And the Lord
healthy fight.
prepares the way. There's times where
Yeah.
I feel like I need to tell him something, but I'm like, I'm not gonna come up out in the blue and just vomit
Say-
that I have that. So I pray that he prepares the way, and then the conversation comes up, and I'm like, this is the place. I'm throwing it in there. You know what I mean? So for me, that's a testimony. It's like I didn't have to like be like, hey, can we talk about this? But the conversation opened up, and because I'm
just
on
flowed.
guard, I'm like, okay, it's coming in, and then I feel like how he brought that conversation up, and I was able to tell. And there's times where I don't even tell him. I don't even like. Oh, and there are other times where I'm like, I've been praying about that, and that's so crazy you brought it up, and you know,
Wow.
so
Oh,
it's,
that's awesome.
That's
so
cool.
it's things like that too, to be there.
And it's awesome that you guys covered those like non-negotiables too, like not hitting below the belt, being disrespectful. Because I think that's something that Art and I did. Like we obviously, I mean, we grew up, and we've said this before, we grew up Catholic, but we didn't have a relationship with Jesus. So yeah, we had kids before we got married, and then our marriage in the first 7 years, it was very, very rocky. We hit below the belt. We were very disrespectful. It's like he hurt me, so I'm gonna hurt him type of mentality, which is very wrong. So we would leave Jesus in the back, and it's like, no, like you always have to pray. And I love what you said, Raquel, that you always go to him. Like even if your mom, if that's what you saw your mom doing,
Yeah.
or your parents, that's awesome,
Yeah.
because you're teaching that to your kids, and they're gonna grow up to do that. So that's awesome.
And then something I think that's super important to emphasize for those of you guys listening, is that this happy marriage, like to make it work, the context is a healthy dynamic, because and I'm only saying this, and I repeat this often because it's known and it's out there. There are abusive, manipulative people in marriages that use scripture to their benefit and to manipulate you, and no te tienes que aguantar y no nos vamos a divorciar y and you know me tienes que honrar, and there's dudes out there like hyper macho that are like just pisoteando, you know, the wife, or even vice versa. And it's not it, bro. Like that is not what we're talking about. We're not talking about, no, es que no nos vamos a divorciar. Like te voy a poner los cuernos y no te vas a ir. Y te voy a pegar y no te vas a ir. Y like they're just treating that person like a entrance rug, walking all over them and using scripture as like, no, God doesn't like marriage,
Mhm.
or excuse me,
Divorce.
God doesn't like
Divorce.
divorce. Like, you have to stay with me
Right.
because, like, no, that is not what we're talking about.
Mm.
Where, if, like you said, Raquel, if there's a life and death situation,
Right.
if you're being abused, and it doesn't have to be physical abuse, there's emotional abuse,
Mhm.
there's verbal abuse, there's financial abuse, there's all kinds of stuff, dude, that if you're at that level,
Right.
obviously pray, because these guys have made it super clear that prayer is the vitamin and not a medicine, so you do it proactively.
Mm.
But number two, seek help, dude. Like, when it's that bad, you need to do something,
Mhm.
especially if you have kids too, because with your actions you're teaching your kids what is okay to accept. So if you're teaching them that that's normal, dude, you are hurting so many generations. um and we're called to break chains, right? So
Mm.
That's right.
anyhow, just saying, I have to make that clear.
Yeah.
I don't want someone out there getting beat up and like, I
I
know,
know,
pues es que
yeah.
the light stand said that there's, no
That
divorce.
prayer
Divorce
fixes
is
No,
not a
everything.
no.
option.
Hold
No,
up, hold up.
yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah, in a healthy dynamic, right?
Mhm.
So anyways.
Yeah, it's good.
And prayer always brings clarity.
Yeah.
Whether in prayer, I mean, what you're saying is so true. It's like the prayer will give you the clarity to make even the hard decisions when that hard decision will probably
Yeah.
be to ask for a divorce because there's
Mhm.
verbal abuse, there's physical abuse.
Yeah.
But then prayer will bring your heart to forgive that person, or and vice versa.
Mhm.
Whoever's the offender.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
Man, dude, I think we can like sit here for a long time with you guys and just keep rolling. But we do want to be respectful of your guys' time. Um, I want to, as we start kind of hitting the peak of this episode, whatever comes to your heart, can you share one of the most impactful moments that God, something that God has done in your life, that you want to share it with someone that maybe is struggling with their faith, or is unsure, or even is upset with God for whatever reason, because we all have those ups and downs. So is there what has been one of those moments for you guys, where God just moved?
For me, the one that stands out because it's I guess one of the most recent ones is when we recently moved to El Paso. Just the move itself was difficult because we were planted in Louisiana, but we knew that God was calling us for El Paso for a season. Raquel was she had just had a baby, and then we started this journey of learning and adapting to Sebastian's condition. He's autistic. So Sebastian was 6 years old when we moved here. He was still in a diaper. He was still nonverbal. And then his first 3-4 years, he was nonverbal at all. And I, I could say very autistic, where, and just shout out to all those autistic parents. It's a journey.
Yeah.
It's very difficult, emotionally draining, physically draining, mentally and spiritually, because it comes to a point where it's like, God, what is this all about? What are you trying to teach us? Prayer obviously kept us together. It brought us together. It kept us strong and believing that God was going to do something in his life. But there's the low moments where personally I would feel like, what is going to happen with his life? Like, what is going to be about his life? He can't even talk. He can't communicate with us.
Wow.
And talk about miracles. I remember we moved back to El Paso. We decided after praying where we were going to plant ourselves to serve at a church, at a local church, and then we discovered it was going to be our current church. And it was the beginning of the year, and there was these nights, Friday nights, that we call V nights, where they bring different speakers and there's prayer. And they brought this French guy, powerful message, and the worship was going on. And in the midst of everything that he was saying, he said, if there's a burden you have, when you're having trouble trusting God, just bring it to the altar.
Mm.
And I remember just telling God, God, I'm exhausted. This is exhausting me mentally and emotionally because we at this point we had tried therapy, we had tried everything, and I think us a child with an autistic parent is always there's always this um thinking this search for an answer as to what is happening to my child. Why can't he talk? Why is he having these meltdowns? He had already been diagnosed with autism at the age of 3. So we were after he had, after he was 3. For us, it was like, okay, so what do we do now? And there weren't many resources out there, but I guess what held us together was God and prayer. But I remember that those nights very clearly where I just surrendered it to God. He was still 5. He was actually still 5, and I said, God, his life is in your hands. Whatever you have for him, his future, even in this, and even in his condition, you're gonna be glorified. But please just lift off this burden off of me. And then, you know, the move and trying to settle in a new house and finding him a school. Um, the days went by. The days went by. He turned 6, and then again, man, God did a miracle. I almost want to claim like a light switch again on him. He starts doing better in school. All of a sudden, he starts talking. He tells us he doesn't want to use a diaper anymore. And, from then on, fast forward, you can hardly tell he's autistic. He's still in a work in progress where God gave us clarity. I guess when you were talking about prayer and clarity is one of the things we want is like, we still can't deny the fact that he has that condition, but he's made a tremendous change where we believe he got healed and God did something in his life. I didn't see it at the moment, like you see it maybe in videos where people, but I guess the process again of trusting, we've seen a miracle in his life. I want to say God has done a miracle in his life.
Wow.
But I guess coming back to your question is, it came to a moment where I had to say, you know what, God, it's in your hands. There's nothing we can do. We just trust that you're going to take care of it. And it always brings me back to that midnight because I do the math and it's like, it had to be that prayer. It had to be that moment I had with God where God had to do something because God, I mean, and since then, like, he's been progressing.
That is awesome.
Until now. I mean, he can read, he can talk to you, he can have a conversation with you. You can hardly tell he loves the Lord. He loves to worship. He loves music.
Yeah.
He's learning to play the drums.
That's awesome.
He's a great brother.
Yeah.
So he's been lately my biggest testimony as how you can trust God and God can do something.
Oh yeah.
But there has to be like this true trust where you have to let go.
That control, huh? Like,
yeah.
When it comes to our kids, it's like another thing. Like, man, I mean, I can't imagine what you guys, being an autistic parent, like, you can't compare. But, like, with kids, we have 2 boys too, and letting that control of, God, like, I can. And here you go. And it's like, yeah, I can't imagine. So,
it takes faith to another level, bro.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's almost like a reminder, okay, that God gave us the privilege of being their parents in this lifetime.
Right.
But ultimately, they belong to Him, and we have for their whatever career they're going to choose, who they're going to marry, what decisions they're going to make as they become adults. All you can do as parents sometimes is lead by example, have God in the center of the family, and pray for them, like nonstop prayer for them, for when they get out there and see the truth of the world, the reality of how this world is, especially their generation.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's what stands out for me the most.
Thank you.
I can't top that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, in there's parents with autism. I think sometimes what I see, because it's when you're an autistic parent, you can identify the autistic parents. You're like, you can find them in the stores, and you're like, I know what you're going through. Because with us, it was we were not in denial. I think for me, it was like as soon as I saw something different, because when your kid is growing, you naturally compare them to other kids. Like, okay, mine is not talking, theirs is talking. You naturally start seeing things, and then everyone's like, don't, just wait. Every child develops different. Yes, but no. Like, yes, but I see something different. So I think for us, for me, it was more like trying to trace back, like, what was it? Was it like the birth? Was it like the vaccine? Like, what is it? Like, and then trying to like, I was very radical. I really, it almost like woke me up and took me through another trail. Because when I found out, and if you would follow me on social media back then, I wanted to, every mom, don't do this to your kid. Like, it just almost like sidetracked me. And then, and then you want to give them the best, like a holistic treatment and clean detox and do all these things. But then, like he said, you come to that moment of like, okay, it's the Lord. I mean, did the Lord not know what was going to happen? Yes, he knew. And he chose us as his parents. So I took a different perspective, and I thought, okay, we're going to do what we can with our hands and what's in our strength to help him and offer him the best life he can live. And that if that's holistic treatments that we can afford, we'll go for that. And it can be, I can definitely see without Christ going through that season, and just like, how do you handle that without Christ? Like,
Right.
it's almost like a rat hole. Like, you want to go, you want to find out. There's bitterness, there's anger. Like, did I not get educated well? Was it my fault?
And it's evident in people that we see without
Yes.
Christ with an autistic child.
Right. It's evident. Yeah, they're drained. They're like, and it's this thing. And then sometimes, um, in the autistic world, parents measure up, and they're like, well, yours can talk, and yours can, and it's that you'll find it there, and it's like, yours is better than mine because yours is at least, and it's, you find that, and
Because
I think,
autism it's a spectrum.
yeah,
So all these kids have different levels of autism.
Right.
So you got the severe ones where
Yeah.
it's really sad
Yeah.
what you see in them, and then you got the mild. But no matter, once you know
Right.
they're on the spectrum, it's a struggle.
and there's this connection with parents that have kids like that. It's like, oh, I see you, it's almost like I see you there. And I think for us, it was more like laying it at the feet of the cross, and just be like, Lord, that he belongs to you. You gave him to us, and you knew better. And if this is who he is, and we'll try our best to offer him the best quality of life. I think that finding that place of peace, and just be like, okay, Lord, he belongs to you. Like, the way he worships, the way he does things, the way he receives information, and all that. And we pray that the Lord will protect them every day. And I remember, I think one moment for me, it was, they told us like, hey, I was, of course, in my journey of looking through, I was like, I find out that having a baby brother, when autistic kids have brothers, siblings, that helps him a lot, because he gets this personality of adult. So I was like, baby, let's have another
So
baby.
she grabbed me and
He's
descuidado.
like, no, that he didn't want
love it.
babies. And I was like, oh, yes,
That was
we
another
need a
struggle
baby.
personally for me. Is like, if we have another one, like your mind's just in. If you let
Is it my
your
genes?
mind,
Is it, yeah.
yeah, we would. I mean, and we were open about it. Like, is it your family? Is it my family? Or was it vaccines? Was it something
Yeah,
I
just-
ate when I was pregnant? And it came to like, we need to stop
Yeah.
doing that, because God made them perfect in His
Yes.
eyes, and we just have to work around it.
Yeah.
But
So we
yeah.
get pregnant.
We
I'm
got
like, he
pregnant.
needs a little sibling. We're getting that little sibling because it might help him. So crazy thing is, like, I'm pregnant. I go to the doctor, and then they're like, hey, do you want? I don't even remember what they said. He's like, do you want to check because of something? And I was like, what's that for? He's like, well, it's just a blood work, and we find out like if there's something. And when she answered me, I took it like, they can find out if something's wrong with the baby, and they can help the baby when he's in the womb or something. That's, I guess, my naiveness I was like, sure, yeah, they got blood. 3 days later, I still remember the day. I was at my house, and they're like, hey, ma'am. They called me over the phone, and calling you came out positive for whatever code. I don't know. She gave me a code, and I'm like, what does that mean? You have a high risk of Down syndrome, baby. So we are asking you to come into the doctor. They're gonna make a special. She didn't ask me. She just said they're gonna do a special treatment, a special exam. But you came out positive. The number was so and so, and I just remember sitting there, and I'm like, oh, and then I call Hector. I'm like, they call me that I came out positive for Down syndrome. He's like, how? And I'm like, I don't know. Let me call him back. And I call her and I'm like, what does this mean? And she's like, well, your number is high. So it's like the possibility.
The possibilities are really high based on the blood work that the
So
child
they
was
schedule
Down
me
syndrome.
for another test, and I'm like, well, how is this gonna happen? So anyway, I talked to the doctor, and he's like, look, Down syndrome is one of the best things you can get from your exam. So like, that's one of the best of the worst, but maybe your baby. Like, he was just blunt, like doctors can be, you know. And I was like, okay. And so I just remember being in my living room and just like, I can't. Like, you know what I mean? You have this baby with autism, and then like you're pregnant, and then your baby might be Down syndrome, which we were really close to a Down syndrome baby girl, a girl from our church, that I was like, it's okay. But then I'm like, he told me that it could be worse. He said like maybe he can die. He's like, sometimes they die he went so specific
Oh my
that to this
goodness.
day I think it was the enemy that just wanted to like steal my joy. And I remember like, Lord, however you give me my baby, like I'm just gonna accept it. I'm not even gonna put that on me to like carry this while I'm taking, because my whole pregnancy was basically Sebastian on treatments, like therapies, traveling,
Exams.
holistic doctors, all that stuff. So it was just like so overwhelming that I was like, I'm not gonna put that on my baby. So perfect baby Jethro was born, and then every ultrasound he would come up with his tongue like outside. So I would like I
Sticking
would
out.
read, and then like Down syndrome babies, and every that's one of the
Ultrasounds always have their
characteristics.
tongue sticking out.
That's one of the characteristics. So I was like,
Oh
let it
wow.
come, let it be, you know, so be it. And I was just like, but I remember just that moment of trusting the Lord and having that like, why worry about something that's out of our control?
Yeah.
Humans, we do that. We're like worried about this thing that's out of our control. But if we choose to live in like, Lord, if this is part of the journey, I was willing to receive that baby, however, you know. And I remember the day of delivery, so I wouldn't think of it. Like honestly, they gave me that diagnosis, and I remember just trusting the Lord. And I remember when delivery came, like the delivery moment, and I see all these doctors coming in, and I was like,
It's very
why?
dramatic because they were expecting for
My numbers were like that. Like the doctor thought that my baby would come out, and they just needed all this team to receive the baby. And now I just see doctors coming in, extra doctors, extra nurses, and because you know delivery is usually the doctor, a couple of nurses. And I'm like, why are they here? And I overhear them. He's like, she's positive, code, whatever. We might give you the baby as soon as the baby's born. Like everything was ready for an emergency delivery. And I just remember like the fear wanted like to take over. But I was like, no, Lord, like this belongs to you. This is you. It's whatever you bring. Let's bring it on, you know. And
Yeah.
perfect baby. He was the one that had delayed umbilical cord. Like everything was so perfect, and God was glorified. But I also think, what if what if things would have been different, you know? And I think just trusting him in those 7 months that were left. I think whoever is listening to this podcast and they're going through things, I think we got, as humans, we gotta understand, and if especially if you're naturally a control freak, you gotta understand there are things we're not in control of, and the Lord just wants us to trust him. Could that baby be born Down syndrome? Yes, because sometimes things don't change, but we gotta just like understand that when you're walking with the Lord, all things work for good if you love him, and if you like just you're walking with him. And I think that takes such a load off of our back. It took off a load with Sebastian. It took off a load with Jethro, and it teaches you to walk off of load. There are things right now that I'm facing that I'm like, how? And then this begins to like, how am I gonna do it? How is this gonna happen? And then like, I just gotta come back to that. I don't know. We're gonna take it one day at a time, and the Lord's gonna give us the grace to face those things. And I think we need to learn, because that's an uncomfortable position sometimes, you know, because we want to make sure everything's set up for things, but
Right.
it's gonna be one day at a time, and the Lord might surprise you. The Lord might but He's never gonna let you down. He's never gonna let us down. He's always gonna. His ways are higher. His thoughts are higher. His ways are better than what we think, because we're so limited. And I think for me, I mean, it highlights when I think of a miracle, it's that pregnancy. But I also think, what if it would have been a different story? I'm sure we would have loved a Down syndrome baby as well, because that's just part of the story,
Right.
and that's how the Lord uses it. But
Wow.
yeah, he's done. Yeah, he's done. He's good. God is faithful, And if you're listening to this, like, trust him in every area, and don't let fear. Once we let fear, because fear will come and knock at the door of your head and your heart, but once you let fear, you can close that door and not let it in. Because once you give it a little bit of entrance, he takes
It'll
over.
sneak in.
You see things that are not even there, and just rest in the Lord and trust him, that even when you feel a little bit of worry or fear, he's gonna make a way, and his ways are better than ours, for sure.
And he tells us to not fear
Yeah.
Yeah.
multiple times. And so
Yeah.
we have to trust that statement he puts
Right.
in his
Yeah.
word.
Yeah.
To not fear.
Oof.
Mhm.
Man, yo.
That was awesome.
There's faith, and
Thank
then
you.
there's
Thank you.
Hector and Raquel faith. That is too good, man.
Yeah.
Wow, thank you for sharing that, guys.
Yes, thank you.
Truly, man. All right, y'all. We're gonna wrap this up because this is just too good. And I mean, if y'all want episode 2, let us know in the comments. We do always end the episodes with some fun questions. So we will get rolling. Do you want to ask the first one, Mama, or me?
Go for it. I'm pulling mine up.
All right. So my questions are gonna be kind of like fast, and you guys just answer the first thing that comes. Okay. Do you guys prefer Coke or Pepsi?
Coke.
Coke.
All right. This podcast is over, guys. We're gonna answer.
Diet
Coffee or tea?
tea.
Hot or cold?
Hot.
Okay. Pizza or hamburgers?
Burgers.
Nice.
Mhm.
Tacos or barbecue?
Tacos.
Okay. Early mornings or late nights?
Early mornings.
Late nights.
Okay. And forests or beach?
Forest. Lately.
Beach for me, but the season is forest.
Okay.
Nice.
And then last one from my end, top 5 places you would love to vacation.
Kinda got
Bora
me.
Bora.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Oh,
let's
yes.
go.
Hawaii.
Mhm.
Dominican Republic.
Greece.
Ooh.
Top 5 places that we visited? Or
No, that you
that
would
you
want
would
to.
like.
Oh, no,
That
I
you
have
want
like
to
free
vacation.
stays. No. Greece.
Mhm.
For me, Greece. France.
Fuiste.
Juárez. Ay,
Marbella.
Cancún.
nice.
That's it. No, 5?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ya nos
Okay.
pasamos.
No, se vale.
Well, mine kind of ties to that. If you could travel anywhere in the world for dinner, where would you want to go?
Lobster in Boston.
Boston? Okay.
A dinner in an African safari.
Ooh, okay. That's cool. I
Back
would just
poop.
hide my dinner from the lions. Cool. Favorite movie
Or show.
or show?
We don't watch TV because
No.
we have kids that took over the TV.
Okay.
Favorite movie? For the longest time, it was Titanic for me. But
Okay.
Favorite movie or show?
Or is there one that
Your
like a kid
TV show
movie?
that you
The
always
late,
watch?
I mean, the late one is really good. The Secret
remodel?
Millionaire. Is that the
Oh,
one you're
yeah.
talking about? Which other one?
No, the one you remodel, the TV show where you
Oh,
remodel.
I'm a
homes.
big HGTV.
Home makeover.
Oh my god.
Oh, nice.
For real.
House
Those are-
flipper shows or
Yes.
any of that.
Are you a house? Do you guys flip houses?
Yeah. No, he flips our house on a constant basis.
Really?
We got an old house just
Okay.
down the road.
Okay.
We flipped it pretty much.
You flipped it. I don't know how many times.
That's cool, man. I love that.
That's cool. All right. Pineapple on pizza?
Pineapple on pizza? Yes, please.
No.
Okay. I'm with you, Raquel. Blah, blah, blah. Favorite song?
Non-Christian.
Mm.
Llegan y, ay, no, pues Marcos Wiles. Nah, come on, man.
Corazón.
Del mundo.
Non-Christian.
Or band or artist, right?
Uh-huh.
Andrea Bocelli.
Okay.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay.
For me, pues varios.
Which
Which
one
one?
is good?
Which one?
Aw.
A ver, tres, because it is hard. It is hard.
Enrique Bumburi. That one was hard to let go. Cuando me hice cristiano. Lenny Kravitz, the Credence.
Okay.
Kind of an old classic rock guy.
The Credence. Yeah.
Dang. All right, I got this one from a show that we recently watched. Oh no, it was a movie, and it was really cool. I liked it. And I was like, this is gonna be a good one for the podcast. Hypothetically, you pass away and wake up in the afterlife, being the age that you were happiest when you were alive. How old are you?
You guys are in heaven.
30. Newlyweds.
Oh.
Or before we got, because our first year was pretty rough. But no, we had fun. I had fun. 30.
Yeah.
I was on my
42.
peak.
No.
Oh,
Very
Come
cool.
on.
that's awesome.
That's so cool. No, it was a movie, and then there was like kids walking around, you know, like, no, I was happiest when I was 10 or like whatever. It's really pretty cool movie.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's it.
Yep.
Man, guys, thank you
Thank
so
you,
much for
guys.
coming on, sharing your
Yes.
testimony. Ladies and gentlemen, if this blessed you, share it with somebody. If you want to help us continue to be the light in the darkness, leave a comment. You know, either whether you listen to Apple Podcasts or Spotify, whatever, leave a comment. It kind of helps the algorithm get going. And share this with whoever you feel this can be a blessing to.
We're on YouTube too.
We're on YouTube too. No video yet. We told the Lord, if you want us on video, you have to provide somebody to give us the funds to buy the equipment, because that stuff is expensive. So if that's where you want to go, we're on YouTube. We're on Instagram, _light stand. Give us a follow. Is it okay if we tag you guys on the
Yes,
post?
of course.
Okay. Hector is an accountant, and then Raquel, you're a business owner, entrepreneur. What's your business?
It's my Happy Place Nutrition.
Okay, very cool.
It's a
Can we tag them
protein
too?
bar. Yes, of course.
Okay, cool. So if you guys want to get your protein and get healthy and everything, you know,
The Northeast.
Okay.
in the
Yeah, there you
Northeast,
go.
let's
The
go,
best-
baby. El
The
Paso,
best side of
Northeast.
The best
The
side
best
of
side of El Paso.
You
Literally,
don't get
bro.
traffic. You don't get traffic.
I
Where-
know.
What
it's
is
awesome.
that? What is
We're
traffic?
like in the middle of
Yeah, where do you want to
the
go?
east, the west.
You
can
get the
get
best
there.
view to the
Yes.
mountains.
Yes.
And what else can
And
you
You
ask
can go
for?
anywhere.
See.
North,
Yeah.
east.
Yeah, it's the best side, man. But
West.
and last thing, anything you wanna ending thoughts? Any comments?
No,
To our
just wanna
listeners.
Thank
commend
you guys for
for-
inviting us
Thank you,
and
guys. Thank you
keep
guys for
listening to
accepting.
this podcast. And yeah,
Yay.
I'm so
Yes,
excited.
we're gonna be following you guys and promoting you guys. Absolutely. It's it points to Jesus. That's the
Yeah.
most important thing, and it's fun. I had fun.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much.
guys. Thank
Love you guys. Have a great night. Have a great day. Wherever you are, look for Jesus.
Yes.
Hector mentioned something. I can't remember exactly how you said it now because it was a while back, but it reminded me of Revelation 3:20. It says, "Here I am. I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come in and eat with that person and they with me." So if you're feeling that tug, baby, open the door. It's Jesus. Invite him in, and your life is going to change.
Amen.
Love y'all, man. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.